Hey everyone, it's Upstart. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about how I'm able to play Minecraft all the time without ever getting bored, and what are the main components that really keeps me actively playing without ever losing interest in the game. And I hope that it can help you too, because I know that a lot of players who really love Minecraft do struggle with kind of like burning out from the game, and we all have heard of this like 2-week Minecraft phase that most players go through, and then they just lose interest in the game, they get really bored and quit for like months and months or even years. And if you are struggling with this and you really want to kind of like commit to the game and enjoy it for what it is, then I hope this video can help you. I'm just going to be sharing my own tips based on what works for me, and I think that honestly a lot of different factors go into this whole like, keeping your interest in Minecraft alive, and it definitely depends on person to person and like your life circumstances and your environment, but this is what works for me, so hopefully it'll help you in one way or another. I also want to give some context before we start. I made a video about this topic like a really long time ago, but I want to revisit it because I mentioned one tip that I do think really helps, but I feel like I have a lot more to share, so I'm making a new video and we're gonna be watching me play Minecraft on my long-term world that I really love in the background, and I hope you enjoy. But yeah, so I've been playing Minecraft since 2012, and ever since then I've been an active player. I've been playing pretty much like every single day for as long as I can remember. I think I've only taken like 1 or 2 prolonged breaks, and it was mostly just because I was, going through life changes, and I still always, even when I wasn't playing Minecraft, I was always engaging with Minecraft in one way or another, either through like watching people play Minecraft on YouTube or just some other way. Minecraft has always been a part of my life, and I honestly think that just because Minecraft is just one of my like lifelong special interests that I've always been super into and connected to on like a very deep level, it probably does contribute to why I'm so like committed and always like able to play it. But I do think that there are other factors, so I'm going to be sharing those with you today and what helps me. And this is all going to be through a single player lens. So if you want to play like survival single player, and you're just really struggling to stick to your worlds and find motivation to play when you're kind of the only one there and no one's really there to keep you company or anything like that, honestly, I just kind of prefer playing single player over multiplayer, so it's always been my like favorite place to go in Minecraft. If you do prefer multiplayer, I don't see any issue with, kind of using these tips and committing to maybe like a multiplayer server that you and your friends play on. But yeah, this is definitely going to be more towards like the survival players that are playing in single player. But anyways, I think the first thing that really helps me is having a committed long-term world and really like connecting to one world and sticking to it, making your best effort to. Throughout my life, I've always had like one world that I would always be playing on and really like actively, trying to improve and work on. And even though I've, lost a lot of my committed worlds over the years due to like, corruption or having to, start a new world just because of major updates and things like that, kind of out of my control, I still would just make a new one and I'll be like, okay, now this is my new long-term world, and then I would play on it for like as long as I can until I, have to move on. However, now with my current committed world that I think is like my all-time favorite, that I love more than any of my other worlds, I'm making like a very huge effort to back up my world and like, making sure that I protect it so I don't lose it. So anyway, hopefully it'll be my forever world. I would love to have a forever world. I think having a long-term world is so important for motivation because just, for me, having one single world that I know I could always go back to whenever I want to start a new creative project or just do honestly whatever, that is like my catch-all net for everything I want to do. And having like one world kind of makes me feel like it's my canvas, and over time I'm just adding paint to it and making it into an artwork. And that's kind of my analogy for this, is that you don't want to just have a bunch of work in progresses and, a sketch there, half-finished painting there. You want to have one masterpiece, at least, for this analogy. So I think having a single single world that you really dedicate to will help you kind of appreciate it over time, because over time it will turn into a full painting full of builds, full of memories, full of experiences, and it'll be like a time capsule, you know what I mean? And that accumulation of things is kind of what builds upon your connection to a world, that sentimental value you have with it, and ultimately I think it strengthens your bond to the game, because you always have like that one world that you really want to play on, and it's like, oh yeah, I want to keep working on it and making it better. So that's what really helps me. I don't like to jump between worlds and like, start one this week, move on to another one next week. I just like to stick to one. On the topic of creating sentimental connection to your world, I think that also goes into kind of how you interact with your world. It's not just about building things and making like really cool builds that you're proud of, because of course you would never want to lose those, because it's your hard work and effort and time dedicated to that world. But I think there's also more that goes into this. Like, for example, in my long-term world, what also really connects me to my world, besides just my builds that I'm really proud of, is my my pets. I know this might sound silly to some of you, but like I really do love my Minecraft pets, and I always get super attached to them. I get really attached to my cat and my dog, and I even had two like dogs die, and I made a memorial for them, like a huge pixel art face of two dogs, and I plastered it on top of my mountain so that I memorialized my dogs that are deeply cared about. I have like a mule that I really love. Her name is Mocha, and I take her everywhere with me. I have like, just a whole bunch of animals that I really, really love, and it helps me, feel connected to the world. And besides that, I think it's also like, I actually am very connected to the seed that I play on, which I'll spare you the long story, but basically like the actual terrain itself holds a lot of sentimental value for me. And also the builds, of course, they hold memories in and of itself. And I look back on some of my builds and I just get instant flashbacks to what I was like listening to or watching while building that, and kind of like my inspirations and like everything. So I have a few like really special like memorial, like symbolic places of my world that are, like personally very meaningful to me. I would just leave it at that. But yeah, I think it's not about just the build. It's also about like, how you interact with every part of the world, also the mobs and like, everything like that. I think it's also really important to make an effort to play slowly and not rush. I know that a lot of us kind of feel that like urge to start really big projects, really big ambitions, and then, of course you have to get full diamond armor, get the best gear possible, you gotta get an elytra and a whole bunch of blocks. And that requires a lot of like, gearing up and grinding, and sometimes we make it to that point where we have all that stuff and then we're ready to start our big mega projects, and some people literally lose interest like before they even get to that like, geared up place. So I feel like even though it's cool to have a bunch of gear and have like a whole ton of blocks that you can use for your builds, it's also really important to just appreciate the little moments and not rush, because obviously rushing through things is not really the most fun way to play. Like, just by definition, you're rushing to get to the finish line, when we all know that kind of the most fun part of everything is the actual journey and all the little places and steps you have to take to get to the finish line. And I just feel like taking things slow is really, really beneficial. It creates a lot more like memorable moments, and it means that you don't just kind of like rush through your projects and then start a new one and then like finish that in a week and then start a new one. You really got to take the time to appreciate the whole process. This is just personally how I like to play it. I really feel like just making that effort to not rush. Sometimes I even try to like avoid sprinting just to kind of slow down, be like present where I am, and not always try to, rush from place to place. It just makes you feel more present. And I think that's really important, especially for like avoiding burnout. Taking in all the little experiences and moments, because honestly, once you slow down, you realize how much Minecraft has to offer that you can just really start to appreciate. For example, like just spending time farming, and not always making like auto farms, because just the act of farming could be enjoyable. Taking the time to maybe make like a new food that you typically don't make. Like I usually make pumpkin pie just because I think it's more fun to make pumpkin pie over than just like slaughtering cows and eating that. Like it is more convenient, of course, but sometimes like, just that little bit of variation and trying something new really does help, It makes things more fresh, and you're able to just experience this tiny little change in your routine, and that really does make a difference. And, like sometimes I'll even go out of my way to take my dog and my cat on like little walks. I'll even like sit down with my animals to fish when it's raining. I don't just make a, fishing farm. I'll just fish when it rains, like I take the time out of my day to wait for, when it rains in Minecraft, I'll go fish, and I'll, take my camel to ride around the desert, and I'll visit my villagers and see how they're doing. And, it's just like Minecraft truly has so many different ways to play it, and sometimes like actively stepping out of your routines and habits within the game really helps. Sometimes, I've gotten so used to all the like fast inventory like management keybinds, basically, using my mouse number pad to like switch my hotbar and like move around my inventory really quickly, all those little shortcuts that you have. Sometimes I'll even go out of my way to just drag and drop, because that's how it used to be before we had all this like convenience. And just doing that every once in a while, it makes me feel like I'm here. I'm here right now. I'm moving my dirt blocks into my hotbar, and I feel great. And, that's just a silly example, but sometimes, like we get into habits and routines with Minecraft. Like I'll always start sprint jumping when I want to get to a new place. So sometimes I'll just walk. My cat's meowing at my door. Another thing that really helps me, and this is kind of like, this comes from my, artist side, and this is actually the point that I mentioned in that really old video of mine, but it is to engage with the story in your world. So what I mean by this is like, just don't be afraid of doing a little bit of roleplay, a little bit of play pretend, because seriously, this is one of those things that has really helped me play Minecraft and like really enjoy it in a lot of new ways. Like for example, when I was a kid, I'd load up like a survival island world, and I'll make up a story in my head, and I'll literally like play it out in my head and like speak in my head like as if I was like a plane crash survivor on this little survival island, and now I had to survive and like save the passengers and find shelter, find safety, get help, do all these things based off of this little narrative that I created in my head. And this is like, I would do this all the time. I would role play in Minecraft by myself, with friends, and sometimes it would be like more extreme where it's like an actual proper role play where we all have like little characters and we're playing on like a custom world. But even when I'm playing survival, sometimes I'll just like start building something because I'm like in like this, I'm like telling a story. There are just so many ways to tell a narrative in Minecraft, even like a very small one. Like when you are playing on your long-term world, maybe you'll say like, oh, today I'm gonna be a wizard, and I'm gonna make my alchemy lab, and I'm gonna make it as a wizard's tower, and there's gonna be this like spooky part of my world in a dark oak forest, and there's gonna be a huge wizard tower, and you have to go up the winding staircase and fight off my minions, which are snow golems, and then I'm gonna make a dyed set of leather armor, and that's gonna be like my witch outfit, right? And then when I go to my alchemy lab to brew up potions, I'm gonna wear my wizard suit. Like just have fun with it, just be playful, and don't worry so much about like being cringe or embarrassing. I know like the word roleplay kind of has like that connotation, like ooh, roleplay, but like seriously, roleplay is fun, it's great, and like everybody does it. Like I'm sorry, whether you think so or not, every one of us has roleplayed or played pretend at some point in their lives. It's human nature, it's normal, and I think it can be absolutely embraced through Minecraft, and in so many ways too. Like you can even like write in book and quills and like tell a story, write diary entries, play as a Minecraft player and like write down your days, or play as like a character, like a wizard, for example, or maybe a farmer. Maybe you really love farming in Minecraft and you want to make like this whole farming thing for your world. And you have like your own cows that you really love for getting milk that you don't kill, and maybe like, your special little pigs, and you have a dog that like herds your sheep. you know, there's just so many possibilities, and like it gives you an opportunity to engage with your own like interests. For example, I mean, if you love fantasy, of course the wizard idea could be great. If you want to be maybe like some sort of flying creature, that would give you like a great excuse to get an elytra, and that could be like a goal. If you like, you know, and you can even explore this through mods, like absolutely. If you have like a tech mod and you really love like, you know, tinkering and engineering in Minecraft, like, you know, install some tech mods and then make like a whole city with like super high tech redstone contraptions, like so many possibilities. Seriously, I highly recommend you explore mods, by the way, if you can, because that'll just help totally. So yeah, tell stories, play pretend, and roleplay. Seriously, it'll help. Another really important tip is to take breaks. I think one of the main reasons why I'm able to really enjoy my time playing Minecraft by myself, you know, outside of just recording it for my YouTube channel, is that I'm not able to do it as often as I used to. And nowadays, when I get that, you know, kind of rare opportunity to really sit down and enjoy myself playing some good old single player on my long-term world, I get so excited and so in the moment, because it's so like, you know, it's a rare occasion and I don't really get to do it as often anymore. But taking that prolonged period of rest and break and like stepping away from the game just helps you appreciate it so much more. And this goes for like everything in life. This is literally how you avoid burning out of your favorite interests and passions and everything. Like, you need to take breaks. It's part of being a human. So of course, this is super important with Minecraft as well. And I think honestly, this is why people get so into their like 2-week Minecraft phase, is because they go super all in that 2 weeks, then they get super burnt out because they just play nonstop for like 10 hours every single day for 2 weeks straight, right? That is a recipe for burnout. And that's what happens. You burn out of the game, you don't play for a year, and then you come back for another 2 weeks, burn yourself out, and this is like a cycle. This is literally what happens. The key to this for prolonged periods of actively playing is not to play every single day for 6 hours straight. It's to play like maybe once or twice a week if you can, maybe once a day for a few hours. Like, you know, obviously this depends on who you are and like your own preferences and, you know, availability. But I feel like this is so important. Don't like play too excessively, because that's how you burn out. And that's what's going to lead to this like vicious cycle of never being able to commit to Minecraft. If I was having to play Minecraft every single day for like hours, I would not be able to play. Like, seriously. This like me playing so actively only works because I give myself that time to rest. Even when I record my Minecraft videos, which even though sometimes my cat, Chloe, sorry, my cat, even though sometimes like for my YouTube channel, I will have to play Minecraft like, you know, every single day for a week straight, let's say, I still only play for like about an hour every day, and that amount of time works for me. And I don't feel like, you know, too overwhelmed by it. Yeah, like just don't overexert yourself and really try not to play too often, because remember, that's how you burn out, so make sure to take breaks. Another thing is, I know that everyone loves to set really big, awesome goals in their worlds. For example, I used to have one of my older long-term worlds was really cool, and I had this really huge project that I was working on where I wanted to build a giant cathedral. This was literally the biggest build I ever attempted to make in Minecraft, I'm pretty sure. And it was huge. It was massive. And I got like maybe halfway through and then I quit. Never touched it again. And the reason why is because it was way too ambitious. And to complete a project like that, I would have to be playing for hours and hours. And see, this is exactly the thing. I would have to overexert myself, play too excessively, and that led me to burnout. That's exactly what happened. I never touched that project again. Even when I was playing on that world, it would just be that unfinished eyesore of a project that I would never touch because I was so sick of having to do the same thing, just placing bricks nonstop. And yeah, it was way too big of a project, way too ambitious, and I never got around to finishing it. So I think the lesson here is to set goals, but set them realistically, because like if you have like a full 9-to-5 job, you don't got time to build a whole ass cathedral, you know what I mean? But maybe you have time to build a tinier one, or like a church, you know, for example. So yeah, definitely, set cool goals, but just be realistic. Just try to assess if you really think like you can finish this, or if you really, really want to make like a super, super ambitious project. I think it's also important to kind of like plan it out a little bit more, say, okay, maybe this month I'll work on one tower for my cathedral. Next month, I'm going to work on the second one, and then the third month, I'm going to try to work on the main hallway or something like that. Just kind of break it up into smaller, more digestible chunks, which I definitely think I should have done. I probably should have just finished like one tower at a time, because in this, if I did that, I would at least have like one fully finished part of the project to look back on and be like, yeah, I did that. Now when I'm ready, I can continue and move on to my next part of the huge mega project. So yeah, just, try to be realistic about the goals you set, because I know we all love to set really, really ambitious Minecraft build project goals, and how many of them do we actually finish? But yeah, I think that's all the tips I have for this topic. Honestly, I could probably think of some more if I really sat down for a while to think about it. But yeah, honestly, this is just one of those things where, like, no matter how many, how to never get bored of Minecraft videos you watch, it really is just kind of like that internal thing, it's kind of like an internal force that guides you to either wanting to play Minecraft or not wanting to play. No one can really, change that except for yourself. And I think having like a healthy relationship with the game is important, like, not overexerting yourself and, taking breaks and, kind of, connecting to the part of the game that you really love is important. And, besides just me talking about kind of like single player survival Minecraft, I think this goes for like every version or every way to play. Like even when you're playing with friends, and if you have like a server world that you really want to commit to, take breaks. Don't stay up late every single night on Discord playing with your friends until ungodly hours of the night. I've sure done that in the past, but this is not really, eventually you're gonna get bored. And even like in creative mode, this is also another great avenue to kind of explore like storytelling and setting like build goals, but not overdoing it. Kind of like set them into smaller bits and pieces. So I think that could really help for the creative builders, which I definitely was one for a very long time, especially when I had a lot of free time. And one of the main things that helped me really stick to creative build worlds was creating a story, and I would tell stories through that world. So yeah, I think it also applies to that. But honestly, like at the end of the day, I think, just it's normal to get bored. And it's normal to want to take a break from a game because you just play it too much. I'm sure I'll probably go through that at some point. No matter how cautious I am, I think it's inevitable, and there's nothing wrong with it. Even if you never really break this cycle of your 2-week Minecraft phase, just appreciate it for what it is. Minecraft will always be there for you whenever you want to come back to it. There's no pressure to always have to play it. So, regardless of if you're an active player or not, you're still a Minecraft player, you're still a Minecraft fan, if that's what you want to be, You don't have to play a game actively 24/7 to love it and to appreciate it and to know that you love to play it, It's also just kind of unfair because I feel like we always compare ourselves to a much younger version of ourselves where we had all the free time in the world and we had kind of just like this, our child brains really like to just focus in on this one thing that we really are into. I'm sure we've all had like, super, super fixated phases on something like freaking Legos or whatever. Minecraft happened to be my thing for as long as I can remember, and it just kind of stuck. I don't know why. I think I'm just kind of weird, but yeah, I hope that I could help you regardless, but just, don't feel so pressured and don't feel so bad because it's completely normal. Even though our like play style and the way we interact with Minecraft will never really be the same as it was when we were once kids, just because it's different doesn't mean it's worse. I feel like Minecraft is one of those games that is evergreen, everlasting, and it'll never die because Minecraft is a sandbox and there's so many different ways to enjoy it. As an adult, as a kid, as a whatever, literally anyone can enjoy this game. You just gotta figure out how to play it for yourself. And figure out how you truly want to play it. At the end of the day, that's probably the most important thing, is to not play it for external reasons. Don't play it because you want to show off your cool builds to your friends. Although that is like a cool thing to do, try to play the game in a way that you truly deeply enjoy. And this is what I do. I don't even make pretty builds anymore because I just can't be bothered. I'd rather just make like a weird little boxy build that's really kind of, you know, ugly, honestly, not super impressive, but just enjoy the game in the way that I really enjoy it and not worry about what other people think. And I think that's honestly another thing that really helps. So yeah, anyways, I hope this was able to help you in one way or another. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll definitely be making more Minecraft videos, so if you want to stick around for that, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!